You know what's fun? When the fighters are so delusional after a fight that they start blabbering on about stuff that is clearly fake or a lie. And sometimes the interviewers have the guts to call them out and make them look like complete idiots. And that's what we'll be looking at today. Let's begin. But first, give this video a like or I'll slap the crap out of you. In one of his last fights, Manny Pacquiao fought against Adrian Broner, and although Broner talked a ton of crap before the fight, he was beat convincingly.
The matter is that the heat just ahead. Nailing him with shots now. The uppercut. He's on the assault.
The interviewer, Jim Gray, got angry quickly as Broner started everything kind of disrespectfully.
Yeah, bring your motherfucking ass over here. I got a lot to say.
We're going to conduct this professionally or we're not going to have an interview. You make the decision.
You could see Gray's face. He was planning to shut this man down, quickly stating his lackluster performance numbers.
I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
You averaged 8 punches. Less than 8 punches was the most punches that you had in the round, and it seemed as though you couldn't get close enough.
It already sounded like it was against me.
But then Gray got another quick jab, reminding him of his record.
You're 3-3-1 in your last 7 fights. What will you do next?
Hey, I'm 3-3-1 my last 7, but I'll be 7-0 against you.
Well, that wouldn't mean much. That's the end of this interview.
Man, what a childish response. Yeah, I can't beat a real boxer, but I'll knock your old ass out. Yep, you sounded great right there, proving you won the fight. What a freaking idiot. Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado had an amazing trilogy, and in the second fight, Alvarado was able to win.
Wants to plow forward, go to the inside, wobbles Alvarado with that shot. Oh, good shot by Alvarado. That hurt Brandon's eye.
Max Kellerman was the interviewer right after this fight, and the whole thing was insane, with Rios and Alvarado playing the next fight. That's when Kellerman called out Rios for actually being hurt in the fight and getting rocked.
Didn't seem to hurt you in the first fight. Here he seemed to rock you a couple times.
Max, your eyes are deceiving. Your eyes are deceiving, Max, because he didn't rock me at all. We're warriors. I don't get rocked. If I would have got rocked, I would have been like that. Fuck no. We're warriors. So, Mike, you need to go check your eyeballs.
Of course, Rios denied it, but Kellerman didn't really back down either. Rios is the guy that said that he almost comes when he gets punched, and he got a beating in this fight. So maybe it was just his vinegar stroke face and shakes that led to Kellerman to believe that he was actually a little bit hurt. Bernard Hopkins was the undisputed champion when he was forced to fight a mandatory fight against Murad Hacker and beat him extremely easily.
TA may have been slightly more impressive than Akar with the right hand.
Right after the fight, Larry Merchant immediately let loose on Hopkins, asking him if he's embarrassed to fight a guy so much lower than his level.
Bernard, aren't you embarrassed by this? A great fighter having to fight
a mandatory that's by the rules. Larry, stop being ignorant. If I didn't fight and defend my mandatory with the WBC, they would have stripped me.
Of course, Hopkins was forced to take the fight or he would be stripped, but Merchant was not letting it go.
You think anybody wants to see this kind of fight again?
Well, it don't matter if they want to see it again. Isn't it
embarrassing for the middleweight champion of the world to be calling out junior middleweight champions?
Well, junior middleweights is only 5 to 6 pounds away from middleweight.
I mean, this is the boxing business, and it sucks sometimes. But the balls on Merchant to just call out Hopkins for getting paid for not doing anything is just crazy.
I don't have an attitude. I just want to get paid for my labor like any other working class citizen in America.
Well, it looks like tonight you got paid for doing not much.
Well, let me tell you something, Larry.
Merchant is the main reason that I miss HBO Boxing so much. He told the fighters what everybody was thinking and wanted to know. Lennox Lewis was the unified heavyweight champion in 2001 when he lost to Asim Rahman by a knockout.
Chases Lewis across the ring.
They immediately rematched, and Lewis was able to get back his belts by knocking out Rahman even quicker than he lost the previous time.
Not to counterpunch.
Then we have Larry Merchant during the post-fight interview, straight out calling Lennox Lewis for not taking the first fight seriously and only being concerned with his Hollywood career as he was filming a movie during this time.
Do you acknowledge now that you didn't give your absolute best effort? You didn't take him seriously in Africa?
Well, you know what? I didn't take him serious enough. I was in good shape in Africa, but you know.
Lewis let it slide and didn't get angry, but this was a major issue and it was constant attacks from the media after he got knocked out. But he kind of shut them down after this fight. Gray Maynard was once taking on Rob Emerson when he was able to deliver a brutal slam that did so much damage to Emerson's body that he had to quit.
Look, Gray gets a hold of him, lifts him up, bang, and dumps him. He lands on his own.
Unfortunately, Maynard was also knocked out in this drop as he slammed his head onto the canvas and he just flopped over almost unconscious.
On the cake. But it's so crazy that Gray knocked himself all behind his head. But Maynard has won the fight.
The fight was ruled a double KO, and this fight ruled a draw. Maynard didn't want to accept the fact, and Rogan called him out.
He tapped, but you were unconscious. You knocked yourself out in the takedown. Look at the replay. You're totally unconscious.
It was completely obvious that Maynard was knocked out, but he kept arguing that he wasn't. But Rogan did a great job calling him out and showing the replay over and over again.
Look at you roll over. You're completely unconscious. Your eyes, I understand, but your eyes were rolled back in your head. You were out cold. Okay, let's play it through again. Greg.
Rampage Jackson just likes to make people uncomfortable, and this time he tried it against Ariel Helwani by actually calling him out for talking shit about him in the past.
That you've hated on me before on your show.
Do you want to squash this right now?
You want to.
No, because I have the most respect.
Those fighting words.
No, I mean like squash the beef between us.
But Helwani just stood there right in front of him and made jokes deflecting the whole thing.
The only thing I got is my nose, and it could poke you in the eye, but the reach is probably not.
I break that, homie.
Yeah.
This guy, he need to learn some Memphis lingo.
Helwani was hilarious when he called him out by saying that they should squash the beef right there. And I thought that there was only one meaning to this, but I guess the people of Memphis didn't get the memo that it means to resolve the issue without violence. Helwani is a freaking genius. One of the most famous UFC callouts didn't happen in the ring, but on Joe Rogan's podcast, when he had Brendan Schaub on his podcast to discuss his future. Rogan was worried about Schaub's fighting abilities at the elite level, so he started talking to him about changing careers.
I worry about your commitment to fighting, not your commitment to training. The reality of your skill set, where you at now, I don't see you beating the elite guys.
This is a pretty rough interview, with Schaub still thinking that he would be able to compete at the highest level and maybe beat the best, like Velasquez, but Rogan quickly shut him down.
If you had a wrestling match with Cain Velasquez, how well do you think you'd do?
Straight up wrestling?
Yeah.
I think people would be surprised.
Really? You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd be surprised. I really do. I think he'd fuck you up.
It was good that they were able to convince Schaub to quit, but the unfortunate thing is that they told him that he could be a comedian, and now we have to hear his comedy. Quinton Rampage Jackson is a very weird fighter, and this is a very different type of call out from Heather, the interviewer.
I have an idea for a romantic comedy starring you and me.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's about a wrestler who falls in love with a ring girl. What do you think? You in?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Am I in?
You're in. Let's do it right now. Thank you so much.
Nice. I mean, Jackson just heard romantic comedy, me and you, and he was ready to get that part. It was still a call out, like, are you man enough? But not to fight in the octagon, but more like to fight under the bed sheets. I think there was something happening there, since Jackson had to adjust his pants right after that crazy weird interview. The greatest call out was when Floyd Mayweather Jr. had just knocked out Victor Ortiz in a very controversial way. Yes, of course, protect yourself at all times, but the win was still questionable in my eyes, and maybe Ortiz deserved it, but is it really a win if you win in this fashion? Larry Merchant was the post-fight interviewer, and he quickly brought up this cheap shot, rightfully so, saying that Mayweather took advantage of the situation, where Ortiz was apologizing in order to get some payback and win the fight.
That you were going through of apology, that you unfairly took advantage of it. What do you say to those who say, what'd you do there? You were winning the fight and in charge.
I just want to, we're not here to cry and complain about what he did dirty or what I did dirty. Give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. You won't do nothing.
Even Dumb Mayweather had admitted it, saying that they were not here to talk about Ortiz's dirty shot or his dirty shot either. I also find it funny that Mayweather's team is trying to get involved against an 80-year-old man. But no matter how old Merchant is, he would never be able to touch the fighting genius that is Mayweather. Daniel Cormier is the interviewer and commentator for UFC fights, but he also trains at AKA, where he had a protege named Darren Wynn. And while a fight was being set up to have Wynn face Phil Hawes, word got out that Cormier was not happy with the fight, and that it didn't make sense. Well, the fight happened, and Hawes won in dominant fashion. Hawes was so high on emotions that he quickly started calling out Cormier, saying that he picked the wrong opponent and that he just beat his boy.
Pick the wrong pony. Pick the wrong pony. Hey, I don't pick fights. Be respectful. Hey, you didn't beat me. I know I didn't. You didn't beat me. But don't put this still. You can do it better than that. Don't do that.
Cormier is a really nice guy, but you ain't gonna intimidate this guy that quickly, so he quickly steps up and tells him that he's not responsible for picking fights and that he should be more respectful. Hawes argues a little bit more, but then apologizes because he understood what Cormier was saying, and his adrenaline was just pumping. Pretty crazy to think that Cormier was pretty quickly able to calm down such an agitated guy. Is it just his reputation, or maybe it's his caliber as a fighter? These fighters might have experienced the fight in a different way, or they just can't admit that they are wrong. Either way, watching their faces as they got called out in front of thousands of people is freaking amazing. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.